Hello and welcome to the LAAGCast for October 30th, 2018. I'm your host, Max Williams, and with me as always is my co-host, Sam Richards. How are you, Sam?
Doing well. Hey.
Excellent. Good to hear. A little bit of delay recording the episode this week. I don't want to say it was because we wanted to get through all of Daredevil before we recorded, but it seems like as good of an excuse as any, if you ask me.
Sure. It allowed us the opportunity.
It did. So hang on to your hats for that. But first, we wanted to get right into the next episode of our rewatch of the first season of Star Trek Discovery. So for us, this is episode 2, The Butcher's Knife Cares Not for the Lamb's Cry.
Right.
And as you know, this episode was built around one basic mission. They had to get to this colony before the Klingons totally destroyed it.
Right.
And the only way to get there would be to jump using the spore drive. So you gotta Star Trek it. You gotta figure out a scientific solution to the problem.
That they can't navigate their spore drive.
Right. If they jump, it could be completely random, which is indeed what happens the first time they try to jump there and end up way too close to a sun.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, it's pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think maybe get the ship away from it a little too easily, but...
well, they're not that close to a sun.
Right.
They're at the point where the arms are stretching out. The tendrils of plasma are almost hitting their thing.
Right, they're in the gravity well, but they're not beyond the point of no return.
Yeah, not even close.
Let's see, what did I write down here? Oh yeah, the episode started pretty cool when it showed us a in-depth X-ray microscopic level view of what it looks like for a uniform to be replicated.
Oh my god, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just the creation of this cube world through lightning as it builds these mountains in ultra macro close-up. And you don't know what's going on at first. That's super
You think you're in
cool.
space. You think you're in some kind of nebula.
Right, and it's creating some kind of structure, like maybe it's building a planet. That's kind of how I imagine planets might be built in some universes.
Interesting. But yeah, no, it was just the uniform, just an inside view on replication, which I don't remember. Did they have full replicators on the original series? That wasn't a next-gen thing?
On the original series, I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
In Star Trek Enterprise, they definitely have the protein resequencer.
Right, they can.
Which can make a ham sandwich.
Yeah, it's really gross. It's probably making a ham sandwich out of poop.
Well, tubes.
Tubes?
Yeah, tubes of stuff.
Yeah, well, where are they getting tubes when they're in deep space? What are those tubes filled with?
No.
Protein, right? Or matter?
But the poop...
Mm-hmm.
And it's explained in a pretty early episode that most of the poop gets remanufactured into like shoes and other various supplies.
They say that on the show?
Yeah, Tucker explains it to a kindergarten class that they're sending a message to.
Right, the class.
A pretty funny scene.
Yeah,
because he doesn't want to talk about poop.
It's like, yeah, we're wearing poop shoes.
Poop shoes, exactly.
But back to Disco. Let's see, what else did I write down here? Oh yeah, Saru. We got another solid burn from Saru when he said, "Oh yes, on the duty roster, I did include a spot for a known mutineer."
Yeah, he throws them out left and right.
That's right. He likes a good burn, man.
He really does.
I'm really liking that about him on this rewatch. Like, it's so blatant now, and I never noticed it.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick.
A little bit. Yeah, but like in a good way, like in a much less blatant way than Stamets.
Yeah, because he's making it very clear to you that he's doing it out of his own survival, and he's letting you know why. And
I remember when we were watching the episode, I think I turned to you and said, why did Lorca pick Saru as his first officer? Like, why didn't he get Landry or someone else who's more in line with sensibilities?
Yeah.
And when I thought about it later, I realized it's probably because Saru is like the highest ranking survivor from the Battle of the Binary Stars.
Oh, yeah.
So Lorca would probably want the guy who is like right up close and personal with the Klingons.
That's true.
Yeah, we'll take it, right?
Yeah, we'll take it.
How about that battle sim they're running at the beginning of the episode?
Are they?
Yeah, remember Lorca gets all mad that they're too slow on shooting down one of the Klingon ships and they get hit.
Yeah, no, that's an enjoyable Star Trek-y scene.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot, seeing the whole bridge crew working. Lorca at one point compared himself to the tardigrade, which is a pretty big hint about his origins when you think about everything we know about that character that we're pretending not to know during this rewatch. And he's like, oh yeah, this murderous creature, like alone on its own in a space, galaxy that doesn't understand it.
Yeah, he's a super villain.
Let's see what. Remember the hologram displays they had in the Klingon ship?
Yeah, those were good.
Those looked good. What other notes do I have here? The Klingon makeup. This is the first time we saw it in HD on the big screen before we watched the show that we were watching on computer monitors and the like.
Yeah.
That Klingon makeup is real bad when you're getting high detail.
Yeah, it's weird how bad it is.
Their faces are so static; they have no expressiveness whatsoever.
Right. It just makes them look super rubbery.
Like, you're not going to get another Gowron out of that. You're not going to get another Martok out of these Klingons because they just have no way of giving you that emoting that you want. And Martok was doing it with one eye.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of Star Trek aliens, what do they all have? They have the same humanish mouth.
Right. Human jaw. Nothing obstructing.
Human jaw.
Yeah, move it freely.
Exactly. And then you get your expression and the eyes. The eyes and the mouth. You need it. Dang Klingons. Though Saru looks great in his threat ganglia in is it 4K?
Yeah.
Yeah, his threat
I don't think we're in 4K. I think we're just in HD.
Okay. Yeah, his threat ganglia in HD looks awesome.
Yeah, it's weird how Saru, who is so obviously an original design, versus something where they're trying to, riff on an established design, they were able to give themselves something that worked much better for their setting. All the other aliens look better than the Klingons, it's true.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
They really needed to just, and as much as we hate it when they do the other thing of, inventing a whole new alien species, why have we never heard of the Xindi Enterprise? But they needed to do that. They needed to have it not be the Klingons or specify that this was, not the same Klingons.
Yeah.
These are some other angrier Klingons.
Right, some less evolved Klingons.
Right, some Klingons that came back from deep space, and they still held on to old traditions that the main Klingon race had, long since abandoned, and they've got this big crazy warship, and everything else can work exactly the same way.
Yeah. That would have been much better.
It would have. Anyway, to the show we got instead of the show we want. Let's see, not too many notes here compared to last episode. Stamets is still pretty much the best character.
Yeah.
He gets into a little bit with Lorca again in this one.
He does.
Yeah.
And, this is the first appearance, I believe, of the medical officer.
Yes. I can never remember. Hugh something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I
had
it.
Remember.
I had Culber, Dr. Culber.
Dr. Culber.
Yeah, and it's interesting in the first episode they give you only the lightest hints that these guys actually have a relationship beyond their professional relationship.
Yeah.
Because the conversation they have, that could have totally been, the doctor talking to Tom Paris, the way they were talking to each other. And it's interesting that they hold the revelation with them off. But he's nice. He's a good character. He's a very classic Star Trek character, kind of in the midst of everybody else who's a riff on something or trying to be extra edgy, or he's
that's true.
You could toss him into any show, and that's the Doctor.
Yeah. Well, they recast him for season 2. They might just be flashbacks, but who knows?
Oh, they actually recast the character?
Yeah.
Even though he died? Spoilers?
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah, oh, interesting.
It's news now, so...
Oh, strange. Gosh, that's too bad. I liked the guy. Alright, well, let's see. Anything else I wrote here? Let's talk about Landry.
Landry. Wait, no, they didn't recast the character. He died, and they kept him on. They renewed his contract. It's going to be the same actor.
Oh!
Sorry, I just got that. It just clicked for me.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I'm much happier about that. That's a good turn. Maybe they'll sci-fi his survival in some way.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. You're never certain with Star Trek.
Yeah. No, that would actually be pretty cool for them to bring back a character who had been dead, but after a while, when you thought there was never a chance that this character was going to come back.
Right, nobody would expect it.
Yeah, the old, let's bring Tashiar back to life,
Yeah, exactly.
But Landry. Landry might be the worst Starfleet officer in the history of all the shows. Ellen Landry.
I agree.
R.I.P.
Yeah. She is worse than the Starfleet officers that Voyager comes across in the Delta Quadrant, who were also stranded in the Delta Quadrant,
Right.
and they were torturing and murdering that beautiful alien creature.
The Equinox.
The Equinox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she would have totally been on board with those people.
Right.
Like, it's crazy that there's never a twist that was also the mirror version of her.
I know.
Like, it's crazy that when she shows up later in the mirror universe,
The
and it's
same.
the mirror universe version, and she's literally exactly the same character.
Yeah.
Like, where's the twist that Lorca, like, held onto her brain scan and, like, mind wiped and replaced the personality of the Starfleet one? Because,
That wouldn't be bad.
like, what the heck, man? Like,
I know.
yeah, I guess the only other thing worth talking about is the Battle of Corvan 2. That's when they do successfully link the tardigrade up to the system, and they get to where they're trying to go, and they warp in, and they do the fantastic maneuver of waiting in place to bring all the Klingon ships in, and then warping away, but leaving a cluster of mines behind them. That I have no idea how those mines didn't also blow up the colony that they were hanging right over.
I know.
Like, those Klingon ships blew up and rained so much debris on the colony they were trying to save. The shields were down.
Yeah, they were in the atmosphere.
The shields were down. They need that facility. It wasn't even just about saving the people. It's like if they lost that facility, that's one of their main mining facilities.
That's true.
So that's
what
often...
are they mining there?
Oh, deuterium?
Deuterium is, would be very dangerous to have stuff raining down over a deuterium mine. Stuff is volatile.
I may just be thinking of deuterium because Voyager also likes to mention deuterium, and Voyager's the other one I'm watching right now.
It's one of the most popular ones. Deep Space Nine was a deuterium processing plant, I believe.
Oh, that could even be what I'm thinking of. But that also makes it likely that they'd, whenever they were looking for something to have them mine that's important, they would call back to the history and say, oh yeah, deuterium, cancel.
You need it for the warp engines.
Right. Warp engines need that deuterium. Warp core needs that dilithium.
Oh yeah.
It can be turned into trilithium, highly explosive.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch out for that trilithium.
So I honestly, we were complaining about several things, but I thought that was a pretty good episode. I have very few complaints about anything that happens in that episode.
Same.
Like, the character work is good. Like, Michael Burnham is actually a semi-interesting character in this one. I feel like, at the end of the day, knowing everything we know, this is one of her better character episodes. Just her whole interaction with the tardigrade and being the one who's going to treat this thing like a Starfleet mission and understand this life form.
That's true. The contrast between her and Landry is pretty plain.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this one is Starfleet, and this one is a murderer.
Yeah, the show lays on pretty thick because it also then immediately fricassees Landry. Like, she goes out hard. That is a nasty, like, goring death that she gets.
I know. That's what you get for being the worst Starfleet officer ever.
It is poetic. Alright. Anything else about the Butcher's Knife cares not for the lamb's cry?
I don't care for the name.
All of the episode names in Disco are ridiculously pretentious.
Yeah.
I think that, it has almost all of the longest titles of episodes of any of the series, and it is nuts. It is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Alright, well, moving on.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the most recent episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Sam?
This is an interesting one.
It's part 1 and 2.
Part 1
There's
of
a cliffhanger.
2. Yes.
I can't say for certain whether I'll ever voluntarily watch this episode again. This was a rough one.
It was a rough one. It's rough. It was rough to watch.
It's hard to watch.
It is hard to watch. I laughed more at the memory of it, I feel.
Yeah, not actually going through it and being subjected to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But thinking about everything that happened is rather humorous. The whole Home Alone scenario going on very blatantly.
Yeah, they reference Home Alone a lot, like real heavily.
Real heavily.
But then it very quickly takes a hard turn and becomes Saw.
Yeah.
It's like if Jigsaw got caught in his own shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the fact that...
Bear trap.
the fact that he spends the entire episode in that bear trap and it just continues to rotate around his leg. Like, I don't understand how his leg can be attached anymore. Like, that bear claw the bear trap has destroyed, like, 365 degrees worth of flesh on his leg.
I don't think it was actually spinning around his leg. I think he was
slowly turning
it himself in order to move his leg. Because he's, like, rolling over to get through everything. And it's a big it's a big flat thing that's laying across the ground. So he has to pick it up so that he can get into a crawling position.
He does scream and pass out a lot. So I assume every one of those times he could be twisting the bear trap slightly more. God. And Charlie didn't keep that bear trap clean. Like, he's getting gangrene.
Yeah, probably.
As soon as they say that part of his ritual involves drinking yellow, you knew he was drinking some piss.
Yeah, he would at some point during the episode have to drink pee because he drinks yellow because beer's yellow, and that'll make the Eagles win.
It'll make the Eagles win. It's funny how this show really gets like a fairly decent amount of sports guest stars every once in a while, and it loves to have them be imaginary dream figures.
I know.
It loves that.
Yeah. No, when they actually had the gang meet some stars, the stars were pretty like, whoa, these guys are a little too crazy.
Ryan Howard and the other guy, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. I assume the next episode will take place at the Super Bowl.
Probably.
Probably be Dennis free.
Is he not in the beginning of this episode?
I don't think he was. I think it was just Mac.
Right. 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Mac, D, Frank, whoever's in Green Man costume.
Right, we don't know who was in the Green Man costume.
Yeah, a little thing. Now, was Cricket on the bus or with any of them?
Cricket was one of the people parking outside.
Cricket.
It's not Cricket. Yeah, which would have been a likely one.
It was my number one.
I wonder if it's a McPoyle.
It would be pretty funny if it was a McPoyle. It would be amazing if it was Jesse Simpson.
Jimmy Simpson?
Jimmy Simpson.
I was Jimmy Simpson, but I was thinking the Margaret would be funny.
Oh,
since she's mute anyway.
Right. That would be that. Yeah, that would work. I like the way you're thinking right there.
Yeah. Because I almost imagine, like, my prediction right now is that Doyle McPoyle will make an appearance because he was in
football.
The last football Eagles related episode.
Game Gets Invincible.
One of the best episodes of all time. We'll see tomorrow for us.
Oh yeah, looking forward to that.
Very much so. I wonder if it'll be a 3-parter and they'll just close out the season.
I wouldn't mind.
Wasn't meant no Dennis.
Well, yeah, it would be sad to have no more Dennis for the entire season, but the way things are going, it's been a pretty good season overall.
It's been a pretty good season. I have very few complaints.
Yeah.
Definitely seemed like they got the weak stuff out of the way early.
Yeah, exactly.
Settled into itself very much. All right. Well, that's a recommend as always. And,
recommend for one viewing.
Yeah. So moving on to the last thing we watched, we both managed to get through all 13 episodes of Season 3 of Daredevil.
Yeah, we did.
What'd you think, Sam?
I enjoyed most of it.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I'm like, all right, he's not going to be in costume ever.
I can't believe they didn't end it with him, like just one shot of him back in the costume.
Yeah, nope, not happening.
Like almost as if him getting the costume again will have to be a part of another season. I almost wanted him to have to throw together like a budget version of the costume and then have him do the yellow and red version.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But overall for the season, I'd say that once again, the star of the show was Wilson Fisk.
I would almost agree not only that Wilson Fisk is the star, but the primary sub-character is, in fact, Benjamin Poindexter.
Yeah.
And because that is one damn compelling character.
Yeah, they do a really good job making him interesting.
I mean, like, we know he's Bullseye.
Yeah.
And the way they adapted him reminds me very much of, like, the 90s school of superhero adaptation, where they'll have a thing that's an adaptation, but they won't put it in costume, they won't give it the name, they won't do anything recognizable, they'll change major things. Yeah. And usually that's a bad thing. But in this case, since Bullseye is kind of like a Joker-y type character in the comics, like not really a locked-down origin, he doesn't really even have he doesn't have a last name, he's called Lester. But
they weren't going to do that. It's Netflix.
Yeah, so this whole origin was very well played, and it's interesting, his power.
It is. It's a lot of fun, actually.
And I mean, we have to accept it in a world where a blind guy can do all of the ninja things that Matt does.
Yeah.
But it's almost over the top, but it manages to make sense in the context of everything that's happening.
Almost.
Yeah, and I did like it when they had like the flashback episode showing Fisk like viewing the flashbacks of his childhood, and
that was interesting.
And his baseball cap did have a bullseye on it.
Of course.
Yeah. So
some cool tricks.
I thought that overall it was the best season of any of the Marvel Netflix shows overall so far. I feel like Luke Cage is still the most fun to watch, but this managed to be compelling for pretty much all of the episodes. Very little felt like filler until like the 8th time we had a conversation between Matt and Sister Maggie in the basement.
Yeah.
Because the show, I mean, in those last 2 episodes when it was Matt and Foggy and Karen working together again, it felt like they stepped on the gas. Like, that's what we needed. Like, Nelson and Murdoch, attorneys at law. Where's this been?
Really?
Let's see, what's some things I wanted to talk about? I thought that this show's use of cell phones was very good and interesting. The shot where, after the massacre at the Bulletin, in the next episode they had Karen in the FBI office, and she walks by the table that has all of the phones from all of the victims in their baggies. And, like, some of the phones are ringing, and it's just that shot of, the aftermath of a horrific event. And I thought it was a pretty cool and interesting cinematic use of cell phones to lend a real, like an extra gravitas to the situation. It was a scene I haven't seen before. And then, later, during in the last episode when Fisk and Vanessa are getting married, and they start dancing around, and all of a sudden Fisk is looking around, and all the guests are, like, just pointing their cell phones at them instead of actually watching, and then it all slowly changes to the news briefing with the guy's confession on it, and I thought that was a pretty cool use of cell phones within a cinematic context.
That's true. Interesting.
On a little bit of a side note, do you think if we do get another season of Daredevil that they'll address the Thanos snap?
The Thanos snap?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Unless in Avengers 4 they solve everything with a time loops, or go back in time and make sure it never happens situation, which would be an easy write-out.
Yeah, that's true. It would be interesting if it did affect everything.
Because they have usually when something happens big in the Avengers movies, it has gotten at least a reference. Like, the beginning was a very strong reference because they would talk about the Battle of New York all the time in the Avengers shows.
Yeah.
And they would even mention Sokovia after that happened in Age of Ultron.
Right.
I'm very curious about whether they'll have the balls, or if we'll even get another season of any of these shows.
Yeah, that's true. Netflix has to do something.
I thought Matt's magic neti pot that, instantly cured all of his ails was a little much.
Right, it's like, you will never heal fully. And it's like, in the nose, bleh.
I don't think he even used hot water.
Yeah, it's magic.
And the only other thing I didn't like, and I thought was weird and weirdly out of place, was the way, and it happened twice in the show. Once in, I can't remember if it was at the end of the first episode or in the second episode, and then in the last episode. But the first time Matt goes out again and gets into a fight, it seems like he's trying to let those guys kill him, and they even mention it in the show that he's trying to get himself killed.
Yeah.
But then it's never really referenced again. He doesn't seem very suicidal ever again.
Yeah, he gets past it.
Yeah. And then in the last episode, Fisk does the same thing. In the fight with Daredevil, all of a sudden, he's like, kill me. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like, why? Why? Like, nothing about Fisk before has ever indicated any kind of suicidal tendency. I guess it has something to do that we're supposed to read into the Vanessa situation, but, like, what?
It just seemed like the right thing to say in the moment.
That's what I'm worried about. I just thought, like, okay, it's going to make sense for this scene, and it's weird coming off the end of what ends up being a pretty entertaining three-way fight scene.
Yeah.
Where it's a pretty cool mix of all three people who are fighting trying to simultaneously kill each other while one of them tries to kill another person who the other two are trying to protect. It's a pretty cool dynamic.
Yeah, that's true. Now, all the fight scenes were fantastic. The parts that you could see clearly, not too dark. But I enjoyed all of them.
The no-cut prison escape sequence.
Really good.
Yeah.
And the office, the newspaper office with Bullseye, like, picking up random office supplies and bam, 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 hitting Daredevil. And then he grabs the baseball and it's just like getting ready.
Yeah.
And you can just, the shot hasn't changed. You're just on Daredevil and bam, he throws it against the wall and clocks him right in the head. I mean, fantastic.
That's how you do a good Bullseye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like when the camera's just sweeping around the room following Daredevil as he's going from cubicle to cubicle.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, really good stuff. And, gosh, I had, what was the other thing about Bullseye? Oh, yeah, the Mai Tai ropes. That was really freaking cool.
Yeah, as soon as he put those on, I was like, yes!
Yeah.
That's something.
Absolutely, yeah, love it. And I almost want, like, if and when we get another season, I want him to have some sort of billy club that now will detach into, a nunchucks type situation and has, like, a line on it that he can use.
Yeah, that would be real cool.
Yeah, I want some good billy club action. I want Daredevil in costume. I want slightly more episodic. You can still have an overall structure with the main villain, but like give him a couple more things that are 1 or 2 episode arcs.
Yep.
And more cases, more Nelson and Murdoch.
Yeah, I think probably that the Netflix superhero shows try to stay away from the one-off episode. But yeah, because they're trying to get away from the procedural, not do something like, The Flash on CW, where it's like every episode, The Flash has to stop a supervillain and save a bunch of people, and then you're done. And
juggle the overarching plot with whatever super speed villain is the enemy this year.
Right.
Yeah, it's true, and it's unfortunate that because it'd be cool if they just ditched it for a season. You can go back to like the full dramatic season arc if it doesn't work, but or even just do the first half of the season like that, and then lock everything into full serialization for the end.
Right. Or every 2 to 3 episodes, you get a one-off.
Yeah.
That'd be cool too.
Yeah, because it'd be nice to have like differentiation points. Because I couldn't really, with very few like things, it's hard to tell you what happened in what episode of any given thing, other than the Karen episode.
Right, episode 9, the Karen flashback.
The extended Karen. That's like a 38-minute flashback.
No, it's almost exactly 30 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Counted it down, huh?
Yeah, like it ended at 29:30.
Wow. Yeah, and then they cram a lot into the 12 minutes of show after that with the whole church sequence.
I know. Like it was good flashbacks. It was an enjoyable story. Very heart-wrenching.
Right.
But at the same time, the whole time I'm thinking, how long is this flashback?
I know. No, when it came on, I was watching on the computer, so I just scanned over the timeline to see when it was going to stop, and definitely spoiled a lot of things that were going to happen. But I was like, am I really going to buckle in for this? Should I?
Yeah.
Should I do just fast forward and assume I'll get it? And it's worth watching. You've got to watch it.
It is worth watching.
It's integral.
Right. If it was like its own thing, I'd still like it.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost wish that it was just a whole episode and that they spent a little more time on the action sequences that followed it. But, not a real complaint.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, it was good. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
Even if you're sitting there going, like, why doesn't Matt just calls Buddy Luke to give him a hand? It's this guy.
I know.
Like,
all the time.
One of those. Like, isn't Karen good friends with the Punisher?
Yep. Yeah, and that's lawyered for heroes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's do it. Like, if you're not going to do the Defenders anymore, then let's, pull things in a little bit more. We brought Danny in for an episode of Luke Cage. Let's get a little more of that. That was some of the best stuff.
Right. Yeah, just having another hero in for an episode to fight one guy who's part of the big guy's operation. Yeah. That'd be great.
Heck, wouldn't it be cool if, like, they did the crossover, but they had the crossover be the other guy's story? Like, it's, Luke or Danny shows up and they're like, hey, I'm going after this guy. Can you give me a hand real quick? And, like, maybe they talk about whatever Daredevil's thing is for that particular episode while they're doing it, but they're actually taking care of business for the other guy.
Yeah. Well, again, maybe they don't want to do that because CW does that kind of thing all the time.
With their little crossovers.
With their little crossovers. First you're going to spend an episode in my world, and then I'm going to spend an episode in your world.
Right, yeah, the forced crossover. The cross-pollination to try to get everybody watching every show.
Right.
Which is why I don't watch any of those shows anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, have you seen the pictures from the this Elseworlds episode they're doing where Stephen Amell is going to be the Flash, like they're Green Arrow Ollie is the Flash, and Barry is Green Arrow in this alternate universe. Oh man! And Barry actually looks good in the Green Arrow suit, but Stephen Amell is not built for the Flash suit. He has like a barrel body. He looks like he's total dad bod in that Flash suit, and he looks semi-embarrassed. And he like didn't shave, so he's got like his normal like semi-beard coming in the bottom. It doesn't work in any way.
No, he's way too buff.
It doesn't work at all. Like he doesn't seem like he could be that fast.
No, he's way too huge.
Anything else you can remember you want to mention about Daredevil? They never got the Kingpin in a purple suit.
No, they got him. They get him so close that it's like no, black and white. Black and white's better, bigger contrast.
Oh, when they put that flower on, he puts that purple flower on his lapel. You're like, oh please, that's all I need, just a splash of purple. And he doesn't do it. It's like, ooh, you guys did that on purpose.
Now you're upsetting me aesthetically.
And now, you know what else I was glad though? That they didn't think of the audience was too stupid to remember that Fisk had a bulletproof suit. Even though it didn't come up until the last episode. And then it's like semi-important what happens in that battle.
Yeah, he gives it to Vanessa. It's awesome when he gives it to Vanessa.
Right, he's like, put this on, trust me. And like she even knows it's bulletproof because she just saw it deflect all the sharp things that Bullseye just threw at him. And yeah, well, that's probably why. She also probably knows it's a bulletproof suit.
Yeah, well, I mean, considering she knows who he is.
No, yeah. The way that it wraps up, though, is a little too convenient. Like, she just so happened to order a murder so that Matt has exactly the tiny piece of leverage he needs in order to hold it. Like, that's a little convenient. I don't know if I like the fact that the good guys only win because the villains make a mistake, not because the good guys do their jobs excellently.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, does Matt win a single fight during the season until he wins it in the last episode? I don't think so.
I mean, when he's fighting Bullseye in the church, Karen kind of helps him win.
Right. That's true.
No, he's down and Bullseye's about to kill him, and Karen whacks Bullseye in the back of the head. You're right.
And she knocks him off the balcony. Yeah, no, he loses every fight.
He loses every fight, yeah. Against a big guy. Like, we see him beat up thugs and stuff.
I think he loses to the thugs in this season, too.
Well, yeah, that first one where he's like, kill me. But right. Think about when he's leading Ray through the crowd when they're trying to get to the court so that Ray can... And he has to pretend to be blind and be led while he's actually doing the leading. That was a cool scene.
That was a cool scene. The stuff they do with Matt Murdock's blindness... it's entertaining.
When they're in the church and Karen whispers the plan, knowing that Matt will be able to hear her whisper the plan and no one else, well, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, anything that you can only do with this character because of this particular skill set, you really got to lean into that.
That's true.
I really didn't like the way that Matt found out that Sister Maggie was his mom, though. That was, like, really hackneyed. I can't believe that she did
I know.
I almost thought she did it on purpose.
Well, I almost thought she didn't mean, like, my biological son.
Right.
Like, she's saying it in the religious way, knowing that he can hear.
See, I knew only because I read the comic arc where that revelation is made. So I was like, sitting there wondering, like, are they going to reveal it's his mom? It seems like they're going to reveal it's his mom.
Yeah. It wasn't that good.
But I also read the comic arc that the church fight was based on, and that in the comics, that is where Karen Page gets killed by Bullseye. So that's a real good fake out on their case, because I'm sure that there was lots of Spoilerverse fans who were watching that and being like, "Oh my god, this is where Karen dies in the comics, and we just had a 30-minute straight flashback about her."
Where I didn't read the comic, so the whole time I was going, this 30-minute flashback is supposed to tell the audience that Karen's gonna die. So Karen is definitely not gonna die.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's a recommended season.
It's a recommend. All right. So, that's everything we watched. Now we're going to move on to our ranking of 4 more characters from the Final Fantasy video game franchise.
Yes.
You provided me once again with a list of 5. And I'm going to ask the first one, because I looked at this list when you gave it to me the other day. Cool. And there was one name on here where for a second I was like, who the hell is that?
I think I know.
And then I said, oh, I think I know who that is, and told Will, who was in the room with me, and then I looked it up, and I was right, so I wasn't that far off. But that's Kyros from Final Fantasy VIII.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Kyros.
Yes, Kyros. Now, you were thinking I was thinking Dagger.
I was thinking you were thinking Dagger because I did not write down Princess Garnet.
Right. And I didn't know if you did that on purpose or not. But, yeah, Kyros. That's a good call.
Yeah. Daggers is kind of the theme of the characters of this evening. Kind of.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kyros, a character who you get to play a little bit of in Final Fantasy VIII.
He's cool. Kyros is one of those guys whose entire visual design and like the way he stands and fights is like that would be a villain most of the time. Yeah. The way he's kind of got like super slouchy and he's got big knives dangling off his arms.
Right, he's very angular.
He kind of slides in and like and he's got his little low motions. Like he's basically a ninja. Yeah. Like, but just also wearing the same military outfit as the other people he's in a unit with. Not a ton of characterization, though. Him and Ward are, they're cool sub-characters, but by virtue of being sub-characters in a subplot, they're pretty much just like the well-meaning friends of Laguna who also work with him. Yeah. But, it's always fun to play as those guys, and the soundtrack is top-notch.
Oh, yeah. That battle music is excellent. And, most of what they do is kind of make fun of Laguna, like him and Ward palling around.
Yeah, Laguna is, like, sort of pathetic. Like...
He's a dweeb.
Yeah, he's almost like the main character you would get in most previous Final Fantasies. Like, or other RPGs who are a little bit more like who aren't the strong silent type that Squall so obviously is. Right. But there's not really a ton to say about Kyros.
No, mostly he looks cool.
He does look cool. So I think that Kyros is not too high on the list.
Well, it can't be.
I don't like him more than Irvine from the same game.
No, not more than Irvine.
Question is, do we like him more than Amarant?
More or less than Amarant?
I think I like Kyros less, just because he's not a character, really.
Yeah. I agree with that.
He's one note. One note's going to go pretty far for me. I have to say that I think Kyros is actually the new bottom of the list. I'd even take Setzer. Setzer's a cool old guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He is cool. He's a good character. He's just... Final Fantasy is jam-packed full of so many great, fantastic characters that you get more time with.
Yeah, I can't think of too many characters that could potentially even go lower on the list other than, like, Gao.
Yeah. Well, the truly annoying ones.
Name a truly annoying character.
Name a truly annoying Final Fantasy character from... Vaughn.
Touche. Alright. Moving on. Let's talk about Ignis.
Ignis!
Ignis is too cool.
Right?
Ignis is the best character in Final Fantasy 15.
By far.
Did you play the Ignis DLC?
I have not played the Ignis DLC.
Did I tell you what happens in the Ignis DLC?
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah, because it does reveal how he went blind.
Right.
Which is like the most badass moment in the whole game. It's that he picks up the ring and uses the ring and is only able to do one thing because he's not like a member of the royal family.
Yep.
And it takes his sight, but it does do the thing for it. Oh, it's so cool.
Took the thing he valued most.
His gameplay in his section is the most fun gameplay in the entire game because he's got a hook shot and he can be hooking around to rooftops in the area.
Oh, yeah.
He's the cook.
He's the cook. He's being the cook. Like, he does such an amazing job just as the cook. I mean, I really enjoy the camping aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Mostly because you get to have Ignis cook for you.
Yeah, I mean... The cooking is a huge part of the game. And that's his whole thing. He's all about it.
It's great. He's the driver.
He's the driver. He's basically a valet.
Yeah.
Like the original term, like the personal number one manservant type.
Yeah, that's true. And a little bit teacher. Manservant, teacher.
And how rare is it for a Final Fantasy character to be wearing glasses?
Pretty rare, actually.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that. I can't think of another off the top of my head.
I'm picturing somebody with little spectacles in my head, but for some reason, all I can think of is the evil doctor from Final Fantasy VII.
Right, that's true. Hojo.
Hojo with his big old Coke bottle glasses.
True. And I think in Final Fantasy XII, Sid maybe, or one of those royal people, I think has little spectacles as well.
Oh, yeah. Balthier doesn't ever wear little spectacles?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. Not usually main characters.
So, I think that Ignis is better than Sid Highwind, for sure.
Yeah.
Is he better than Cypher?
Yeah.
You think so?
I do think so.
Okay, alright, I'll give you Cypher, but is he better than Wakka? They are surprisingly similar. Fairly upbeat, wise, but not like mentorly wise to the main character.
Yeah.
A straight up in the front hairdo. I think that it's tough. It's tough. Wakka's so likable.
He really is. Yeah, they're both self-sacrificing buddies to the main character.
Yeah.
Very comparable. I think I like Ignis more.
I think I like Ignis more than Wakka.
Yeah.
Alright, well, just for the sake of the discussion, do you think Ignis is better than Barrett? Is Ignis the new number one character on the list, in your estimation? Better than Barrett Wallace. You're playing Final Fantasy VII right now.
I'm playing Final Fantasy VII right now. I like Ignis, man.
Better than Barrett.
Talk me down. Why is Barrett better than Ignis?
Because Barrett has a gun for an arm.
Oh my god. Starting with that, are we?
Barrett loves his adopted niece.
Blind. He's got an adopted niece that he looks after for his friend who died.
He's a freedom fighter from down on his luck origins who comes to the big city and leads a scrappy band with no hope against an evil empire.
Just to save the planet for his niece. Okay. Yeah, those are all very good points.
Ignis is very cool and has the advantage of being in like a highly cinematic storyline that allows him to emote and like have arcs and go and all those various things. So
granted, when it's Final Fantasy 15, it's amazing.
But like, if I think of the way that Final Fantasy VII would be made, if they were just like making the whole game from scratch and like giving everything the same production value that Final Fantasy 15 got, and like keeping everything else the same, the dialogue, the character, everything, I
It's
think
true.
Barrett's better.
Just by virtue of Final Fantasy VII, it has a better story.
It's a better story.
Yeah.
It really does.
And there's that gun arm.
Yeah,
It's hard to deny that a gun arm is very cool.
Dude, it's a chain gun arm, but then you can also make it like a big old shotgun arm or like a big old cannon.
Atomic scissors.
You can get the atomic scissors. Yeah. No, like the daggers are cool, but yeah.
All right.
So
yeah, I concede.
Still number two. Number two.
I know.
Yeah.
It's very high on the list.
Yeah, on the list. All right. Next, we mentioned that she's on the list already. Let's talk about Dagger, a.k.a. Princess Garnet.
Princess Garnet. She's all right. She's got, she's... yeah, White Mage Summoner. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's, it's classic Final Fantasy to have the summons that are ripped out of one of the characters, and that's her story. And
yes.
Yeah.
It's very Final Fantasy VI, her whole thing. Like, she's very much like a new Terra.
Yeah, right. She's a lot like Terra.
Yeah.
But I'd say more strong-willed, adventurous.
I like playing Garnet more than I like having Terra in my party in Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
And her storyline is good. Storyline is good.
It's integral to the plot.
Yeah, a little cliche. You know, it's the classic princess doesn't want to do her responsibilities, and so tries to hook up with these bands of adventure types.
It starts out that way.
Yeah.
But it becomes a lot more. Just like Zidane's, it starts with, I'm the handsome rogue who's going to whisk away the princess, and then it becomes more.
Yeah, it becomes, I'm a weird monkey clone.
Right, from an alien world.
So, yeah, Garnet. I mean, she is simultaneously the main, like, white mage summoner type, but then she also has to be the damsel in distress a little too often.
Yeah, which is weird considering her personality type is, face this head on.
Right. The whole relationship with Steiner is semi-interesting.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she's okay. She's just okay. She's not one of the best female leads.
No, but she's pretty good.
I don't think I like her more than Zell.
No.
I don't know if I like her more than Prompto.
What's further down?
Steiner is next.
Steiner's next. I like Steiner more.
Alright. What about Irvine Kinneas?
I think I like... oh, man.
Irvine's cool, man.
Irvine is cool, but I think I like Garnet more.
Yeah, Irvine's also a dick. He recognizes everybody.
Right. He's a dick.
Alright, so at number 11 out of 15, that's Princess Garnet, a.k.a. Dagger. Dagger's a pretty cool name.
Dagger is a very cool name. She thought of it up on the spot. She's just like, what do you call this?
I want to be this sharp thing.
Yeah.
What do you call this? That's a knife, princess.
I know.
All right, this is tough. The last one's on the list. I think I want to talk about Shadow.
Shadow.
Yeah.
All right. So
Getting Shadow in your party's optional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can die.
Right. That's right. He can have permadeath.
Yeah. I think there might at least be one point in the game where you have to get him.
Earlier, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have to ever get him permanently.
Right.
Making him, technically, I think, a side extra character.
Right, one of those. Like the Bigfoot.
Right,
Yeah.
secret character.
Right, exactly.
Quote, unquote.
He's cool, though. Like, he has throw, but I think his stats are fairly decent. So when you're trying to pull one of those, like, dual-wield builds on somebody,
Right.
like that's what he's good at.
Yeah. Yeah, and since everybody can do that in Final Fantasy VI, he's a definite first choice for those ninja swords. And even as far as throwing goes, he does it well. I mean, you
He has
can
the
buy
best throw.
Right, because you buy the weapons
Shurikens.
specifically for throwing.
Right, exactly. That's a big difference when you can buy like 100 shurikens and you're not having to throw like your crappy weapons and like money at people like it usually is.
Right, I don't throw that stuff away. Who throws stuff away? Sell it.
Right, it never does as much damage as you want it to do. There's never been a time when I've thrown a sword and been like, oh, I'm glad I threw that instead of selling it for 500 gil. Like, you did 200 damage.
Yeah, exactly. He also has a dog which will jump into battle.
That was the most important thing to bring up, I thought. What's Shadow's dog's name?
Ripper?
Oh my god, if it's Ripper, hang on. Sorry about the mechanical keyboard, folks. Shadow. Dog. Interceptor.
Wow, that's way cooler.
Shadow's loyal dog.
Yeah.
Does not leave his side.
Yeah.
Most likely a Doberman Pinscher.
Of Final Fantasy characters who have dog pets that help you in battle, he's one of the best of maybe two.
Yeah, and who else has them besides him and Renoa?
Yeah,
oh man.
Him and Renoa.
Oh man, what's Renoa's dog's name? It's so awesome.
Isn't it like...
it's something with an A, isn't it?
Angelo.
Freaking Angelo!
Yeah, no, Angelo's awesome. Especially because it's tied into the summons.
If we were ranking the dogs on this list, then Angelo would be above Interceptor, despite how cool Interceptor's name is.
That's fair.
That said, I think we should just establish right now that the dogs are just going to be an extension of their owners. So Angelo will be a part of Renoa's character ranking.
Definitely.
And Interceptor gets to be part of Shadow's.
Right, because it's part of their attacks and moves, and that's who they are in the Final Fantasy video game.
Yes, very much so.
That's what they do.
And yeah, Interceptor. God damn.
Right?
So cool. Maybe Shadow. Like, you're so damn cool.
Right.
It's Snake Eyes.
When he's first introduced, when Sabin gets separated from the rest of the party, and then you and Shadow, it's like, hey, I need to get somewhere, and it's like, okay, let's go.
I'm a ninja.
I'm a ninja. Yeah. It's great.
Excellent. All right.
So where's it going?
I think that Shadow is not better than Zell. Is he? Maybe he is.
No.
I'm pretty sure he is one note. He is one note.
He's too one note to be better than Zell.
What about Prompto?
Prompto. I like Shadow better than Prompto.
I can agree with that. So coming in at the new number 9, that's going to be Shadow/Interceptor.
Yeah.
Get that in there.
See, the ninja.
Woof woof.
Though as a kid, his sprite always confused me because his bandana has the ninja plate in it. I always misread that and thinking that was over his eyes, and he was like in a submarine suit with like a screen.
Oh yeah, or even more literally like Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe, how he always has that like metal plate that goes over his face.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so that was a nice little bit of talking. Should we take a little bit of break?
We should take a little bit of break.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
And we are back. We've got 6 books to review this week, starting with the book that we didn't get 2 weeks ago, which is Hawkman, issue 5, by Robert Venditti and Brian Hitch, as all of the issues have been.
Yep.
This issue is a team-up issue with Hawkman and the Atom, and it's great.
Right.
We get a couple cool double-page spreads, one where Atom shrinks down so Hawkman can carry little him, and then later we see that while they're in the microverse, Atom is able to basically pull a giant man and make himself real big, which is pretty dope. I've read very few comics with Ray Palmer in them, besides like the big old multiversal crisis books that everybody is in.
Right. He's always good in those, though.
Yeah, he's always excellent, it's good stuff. The plot continues. We get a little bit more scientific theorizing by Ray about what Hawkman might actually be going through,
right?
And why he's transferring to these different areas and what it actually means for him. And I can't wait for us to get to the issue where he eventually meets or subs into the body of the Kryptonian version that they keep mentioning.
They really do.
It's like they can't keep mentioning it like this and not have it happen eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
We get this cool fight sequence near the end where they're approaching this like giant life form thing, rock creature, mass controlling demon. I don't really quite know exactly what he's fighting. It's like it looks like a lot of Groots. To me.
Right, but it's the whole planet.
It's the whole planet and the microverse that they're on. And yeah, it starts making some big old like mindless ones type rock monster things, and that's when Adam gets big, and they throw down with the fisticuffs, which that's all you really want in your superhero comics. And Hawkman continues to deliver. You know,
True.
No politics. No issues. Just a cool archaeology of space and time story with high stakes and cool characters.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I give Hawkman a very solid 8 out of 10.
I give it an 8 as well.
Awesome. Ooh, a big anniversary issue.
Yes, next is issue 200.
100. Sorry. I couldn't even let it sit for a second.
Issue 200 of Moon Knight by Max Bemis and Paul Davidson.
This didn't super feel like a 200 issue.
No, but it did feel like some closure on the stuff that's been going on lately in Moon Knight, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, it goes back to the more entertaining earlier arc with the Sun King and the Truth.
Right.
Compared to the relatively lame recent arc with these weird sadists, cultist peoples.
Yeah, well, basically the past in Sun King and the Truth comes back in this issue to help Moon Knight deal with the sadist cult. And that's basically what they do is, Moon Knight and Sun King team up to fight some cultists. And it's pretty enjoyable.
It's actually a pretty good twist to bring back the villain and have him seem like he's going to be working with the new villain, and because they do that all the time in comic arcs. But then the dude shows up and he's immediately like, villainy, not anymore. Let's do this.
Yeah, and the fact that he brings Truth along with him.
I know, but Truth is having trouble, man.
Truth is having trouble.
That dude is having a crisis of conscience. It's a little but how about these big double page when they do the multiple scenes over one image with no panel lines, that's always good.
Just moon men everywhere.
that does feel anniversary issue-ish. That's the kind of the big epic stuff you want.
That's the stuff that you can print out and have a big nice framed poster on your wall.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Moon Knight beaten on some cultists in all their purple.
That'd actually be super dope.
Right? Yeah, so that's this issue. I thought it was pretty good overall. Like you said, it doesn't feel like a big anniversary issue. I'm okay with that. I give Moon Knight a 7.
I think that I would have to agree with that assessment. Yeah, the art is solid throughout.
Yep.
There's some pretty good action sequences.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously got sort of a sociological agenda, especially as far as the meme bit, which if you wanted to read it as Max Beam was trying to make some bitchy statement about the way social media works in the modern day and age, you could read it that way. I'm sure that is actually how he intended it.
Probably, but I can read it the other way too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about this guy. That's why I continue to buy Max Bemis comics, despite the fact that he's a total ponce on the internet. Which is the fact that he can't help himself but write an entertaining story. He'll say, on Twitter that, I got to do this and social justice and I got to push this and this and this. And then he'll fucking write that initial arc with the Truth. And he essentially had the villain spouting social justice warrior catchphrases.
Right,
and so
the villain.
So he couldn't. It's like he can't help himself. He knows what side he thinks he wants to be on, but he's still smart enough to understand the way the story will be the most entertaining is this way. So for whether that's on purpose or not, I don't know. But as long as it stays this entertaining, we can keep buying Moon Knight by Max Bemis, and that's nice because the whole recent arc with Ernst was not nearly as good as the initial arcs with Sun King.
Yeah. Well, Sun King's just more compelling than Ernst.
Yeah, it makes more sense for him to be fighting another possibly god-powered crazy guy. I'm down.
Right. And the other problem with Ernst is he was too similar to the amorphous blob of people that came in the previous arc to the sadists.
Yeah, you're very much right. Now, that was really cool. That was another one that was really cool. Where it's really like, I guarantee you Max Bemis thinks he's actually a socialist, but then he'll do that.
Right. Well, he's probably one of them who sees how crazy other people can get with it.
Which is always appreciated.
Yeah.
That's how you find good people on each side, is when you find the people who are willing to lampshade their own side. That's a big hint about how much humanity actually exists in somebody's opinions.
Right.
Yeah. If you can't make fun of yourself, you don't have much right to make fun of anybody else.
Exactly.
All right, moving on to another book that's been solidly good, issue 9 of the Terrifics. That's one of the best Chromium covers. Yeah,
it is a really good one. Yeah. I liked the one on Hawkman a little bit more.
Yeah, with the raindrops.
With the raindrops, and they all shine blue, and everything else is black, gray, black and white.
Yeah, I like the black went total grayscale on the cover with that effect. It's the right thing to do. Whoever is doing the design work on these covers really knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Terrifics. This was, like I said, another really good issue. The plot continues as they attempt to defeat Dr. Dread by reuniting their team and going to face him. And they successfully do so. They have a little bit of a run-in with Swamp Thing, who hands them the exact key card they need before checking out of the story.
Right.
Credit crossover there.
Yep.
We get some cool conversation between Tom Strong and Mr. Terrific as we learn that, because I haven't read a ton of stuff with Mr. Terrific in it,
nope.
But you definitely get the feeling, not just because this whole book has been kind of a Fantastic Four riff, that he's definitely a Reed Richards type, and more than just being the brain of the team. He's obviously the kind of guy who's going to spend all his time working on super science and not spend any time on personal betterment or friends or social occasions or anything like that. So that's a nice little moment between him and Tom Strong.
Yeah.
And we get Dr. Dread has some dread bots, just like Dr. Doom. Again, this whole thing is like a Fantastic Four Mad Libs. And we get the reveal of exactly who is in the Dr. Dread suit. And in classic narrative form, it is one of the other characters who has previously appeared in the book.
I know.
Can you believe it?
There haven't been very many. So the fact that it's the Neanderthal.
Yeah, because until this issue, I didn't even really give any consideration to Dr. Dread might be somebody. I just assumed here's Dr. Dread. Yeah. He's the villain. They're fighting.
Exactly.
So
and having Dr. Dread kind of reinforce that as well.
Dr. Dread, yeah, that whole side bit, quite good. So this issue was okay, pretty solid, but I imagine that the next one will be more of a conclusion and will be a little more fulfilling overall.
Yeah, probably.
I'd give it a 7.
I would also give it a 7.
All right. Got a couple of real 7 averages around here.
Well, it's quality.
Yeah.
And that's why it gets a high rating.
Yep.
But moving on from that... We have issue 3 of Batman, Kings of Fear.
Yeah.
By Michael Madsen and Rob Luff. Nope, Michael Madsen is the colorist. I mean Scott Peterson and Kelly Jones.
Yeah, and I really think Kelly Jones should be the top billed creator here. DC's been doing it with their other books, having the artist be the first name on the list. Jones really should be the first name on the cover of this comic.
That's true, because that is what this comic is all about, is the art and crazy Scarecrow stuff as he hangs out with Batman, because he's got some hostages, I guess, so yes. Batman's taking him along for the ride. That's the deal. And he's spraying Batman with the gas.
All the time.
Batman's just dealing with it. Which is interesting, but, he's got to deal with a lot of stuff, so he basically keeps his cool. He beats up some people, saves a kid. Scarecrow implies that stuff may or may not be actually happening in the way that Batman and we are seeing it.
Right. Which, I imagine that it probably isn't exactly the way we're seeing it.
Probably not. All the same, it's pretty good. It's it's a quick read. It's mostly about looking at these beautiful comic book panels of Batman all spiky and like gargoyled out. But we'll get a conclusion on the Scarecrow Batman storyline sometime in the future, not this issue.
No, this issue ends with a fantastic last page too. That's practically a good cover right there. With the Scarecrow about to corkscrew right into Batman's noggin.
And Batman has like the look of terror.
Yeah, he's not in a good way right now.
No.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd say it was pretty good, but the story not altogether too compelling. I'd actually give this one a 6.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's a slightly above average. It's definitely worth a read.
It's definitely worth reading.
But I mean, to be honest, like it would be a 5 or a 4 without Kelly Jones' art.
It'd probably be a 4 without the art for me. If it was like average art.
Yeah, if this was just like DC House style,
right,
everything was happening in an interesting way, then a 4, I would say.
Exactly.
I mean, we may have to at some point start giving an art and writing score.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. Okay, next is issue 2 of Spider-Geddon by Christos Gage, drawn by Jorge Molina, from a story by Dan Slott, but luckily Dan Slott isn't writing any of the words in this story. Man, boo, what a drop-off from an actually pretty good first issue that I thought held its own pretty well as, like, one issue of a multi-title event.
Yeah.
This issue, though, was full of asterisks saying, you like this story, go check out this other book.
Right.
And
splitting them up. But it's not just to split them up in the same issue to handle one thing of their own to help the group overall.
Right. I did do a little bit of research, by the way. Spider-Gwen does wear a symbiote, but I believe the symbiotes from the reality she's from aren't the same. They're lab-created specimens that are basically weapon things. I don't know. None of the stuff I read on the Wikipedia indicated that it really had much of a personality. So it may actually work closer to the way like the
lobotomized.
Right, the lobotomized, or even just the symbiote when Spider-Man had it, but before he knew it was sentient, where he could command it to do things, but he didn't talk to it.
Right.
So that is why Spider-Gwen's symbiote does stuff. I'm kind of ripping this point off from another reviewer who pointed it out, but it's hilarious that Spider-Punk is like really, really normal. Like there's nothing really punkish about him. He's like, all right, guys, hold up, we got to think about this.
Yeah.
Like
so. I'm Spider-Man.
All these characters, literally, you could swap all the speech bubbles around. And I know that part of it is like, yes, these are alternate reality versions of a singular character, but these aren't all alternate reality versions of Peter Parker. Spider-Punk is Hobie Brown. We got Dr. Octopus. Spider-Man is Mayday Parker. Miles Morales. It's like they shouldn't be this similar to each other. If you want to be reading about Peter Parker, you got to be reading a different book.
Right.
So we'll see. I honestly don't know if I even feel like buying any more issues of this crossover. I'm so turned off by the fact that none of the good stuff is going to be happening in it.
Subplots.
I am vaguely interested by the insinuation that PS4 Spider-Man is going to be part of it.
That's interesting.
That's another one of those, hey, you think this is cool? Check out this other issue that this happens in.
Nope.
So, screw that. This was kind of good, though. I did enjoy Kane talking to Dr. Octopus and them just being like, oh, you want to kill him? Yeah, I'm down to kill him. I'm Kane. That said, I would have liked a little bit of a reference to the fact that Kane definitely killed Dr. Octopus way back in the day when Kane was in his classic look, remember? Bless you.
Excuse me.
But that's one of the first comics we had with Kane was the one where Kane has killed. Remember Funeral for an Octopus?
Oh yeah.
That issue? Yeah, that's takes place immediately after Kane has killed Otto many, many years ago. So I don't know if part of Otto being alive again, I feel like that was a fake to death situation. But still, you think you would mention it. It's like, hey, Kane. I know you're Kane. Maybe it's come up in a previous crossover. I don't know. But it is what it is. And I hate the new Scarlet Spider. Just the fact that I just want to throw that out there. He's not really in this issue except for a panel or two. But new Ben Reilly sucks.
Why?
He's badass. because he's a new clone and he experienced like the 28 previous deaths of himself as the Jackal, kept like bringing him back and then killing him over and over again as part of his experiments. This was all revealed when Riley came back in the recent event that brought him back to life, and then he moved off to Vegas, and he's becoming like he became Scarlet Spider again. But he's like angry at everybody, and he talks down to people, and he's a lot more like Kane than Ben, basically, and he's completely unrecognizable as Ben Riley.
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be like a down on his luck but very optimistic good do-gooder?
Yeah, he's supposed to be Peter Parker. Like, just with even worse luck than the regular Peter Parker.
Right, exactly.
Like an even shittier life. And like they took that like way too far, because now his whole thing is like, yeah, I remember dying 27 times, so I have a real grim outlook on life now.
Yeah.
So, for all those reasons and more, Spider-Geddon 2 gets a 2.
A 2.
Well below recommend. It's like, even if you picked up the previous issue, I don't recommend buying it.
Can I argue against that? Not really.
I mean, the art is fine. I don't really have much of a problem with it.
Oh, well.
Nothing interesting visually really happens.
Oh, I mean, the most interesting thing to me was finding out that Spider-Gwen had a symbiote.
Right. Yeah, that was very surprising for us, since we don't read Spider-Gwen.
Right, and then I enjoy the Superior Octopus. He's an interesting character.
Yeah.
Past that, there isn't really much that I enjoyed about this.
Like, Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, is in this comic. Like, you'd think that they'd be able to do some interesting stuff.
Do anything.
That's what I mean. He doesn't do shit. Like, why do you even have Peter Porker in this?
You're right. I was going to say 3, but you're right. Peter Porker, not in it, and I was interested in him right away from issue 1, where I'm like, there's a pig Spider-Man? So yeah, 2. Alright, last is issue 1004 of Action Comics by Brian Michael Bendis and Ryan Sook.
Ooh, good stuff. I love Ryan Sook.
Yeah, Ryan Sook is really good. As for Bendis... Bendis
gets a little weird in this issue.
Yeah, I take some issues with this issue, but let me explain what's going on. It's mostly a Daily Planet, Clark Kent being a reporter issue.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he's at the Daily Planet, but he's not really doing much reporter stuff.
No, he's not. He's just he's at the office.
He's mostly seeming like unreasonably mad about things, so we find out later he has no reason to be mad about.
That's true. In regular Bendis style, while he's doing regular things, he's going and saving the world in split seconds too during this issue. That's been happening quite a lot. Yeah,
we get as usual, a nice double-page splash of Superman doing some cool action, saving the world shit. And because Bendis is like, oh, it's a Superman comic, I could put some Superman action on it for a page or two. Yeah. It's Action Comics, you bitch.
Yeah, and that's very cool. And it looks great.
Ooh, such good stuff.
2-page splash, and Superman saving the day.
Using his powers, using some heat. Like, I want to read a story about Superman fighting this guy. Who the heck is this guy?
Yeah, it looks like he's made out of a house.
Yeah, it's all like steampunky, and it looks like a Bloodborne villain.
Yeah, really. He's pretty cool. He's fighting the cool dude, he's using his eye beams, his cold breath. Very cool. But then this issue takes a turn.
Yeah, an adult turn.
As Superman becomes reacquainted with Lois Lane, who's just been living by herself, living the single person's life, not telling Clark that she's back on the planet. Because she's been there for months.
She needs to focus on work?
And she needs to focus on work. That's her excuse. My argument with that is obviously, why can't you focus on work from home?
Right.
Because you're married. So, be at the house that you have.
It reeks.
And do your job.
It reeks of Bendis deciding here's the status quo I want. What's the easiest way to get there?
Right.
Oh, Lois decides that she needs to live alone to be a good reporter. That'll make sense.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So then, Superman and Lois bang.
For the second time, because all this conversation initially is like post
That's
first
true.
bang.
They bang, and then they have this conversation, and then they bang again. And that's where I really take issue with this comic.
Yeah, action comics should be for kids.
It should be for kids.
Like, I'm no
should
prude.
be wholesome.
Right, I don't care about this stuff in other comics, like where it's called for.
No, definitely not. But there are certain things, like Superman.
Right.
Excuse me. Where, yeah, we're cool with the fact that Superman has had sex.
Like, he has a kid, we know.
Because he has a kid. And that's great, because he has a wife, he has a family, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But we don't want to see it.
No, I don't like it. Like, we don't want to see it any more than we want to see it with Goku.
Right, you don't want to see Goku doing that.
Yeah.
No.
He has a son, it's fine.
Yeah, he's done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, for the same reason. Similarly, Star Trek. I like it staying wholesome.
Right. Like, I wouldn't like the scene in a Captain America comic.
Right, yeah.
And it even would make more sense there. But,
it would.
But
a
yeah.
Grittier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I guess I don't mind it with Spider-Man for some reason.
Well, it's different, Spider-Man is...
Because, I mean, you think back to the Clone Saga, like that one Todd McFarlane issue where Peter's, like, all depressed for some reason, and he's taking pictures of Mary Jane, and Mary Jane's like, ooh, I have to cheer him up, and she, like, takes her top off.
Yeah.
And she's like, ooh, how about some snacks for the private collection? And then the kid narration box says, slowly, Peter's spirits begin to rise. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. But, I mean, Spider-Man always had, like... bedroom couple conversations happening all over the place. He goes in through windows and hangs out outside windows on walls. It's a Spider-Man comic.
Maybe it's even more of a Marvel DC thing compared to a specific heroes thing. Because, most of those DC heroes, I feel like they... Yeah.
Because they stand for more.
Not even just
Marvel
stand for more,
superheroes.
They're sort of godly.
More flaws.
Yeah, Marvel superheroes are all like dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like the DC heroes are like Olympians.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is exactly it.
Yeah, which is weird because when it comes down to it, Greek mythology is like nothing but banging.
Yeah. So, Action Comics issue 1004 gets a 4.
I have to give it... I'm going to also give it a 4. It would be a 3, but the Ryan Sook art is excellent. Like, if we could get this level of illustration on Superman comic consistently, then that would be absolutely spectacular because they're just getting the best of the best to draw these things, and then they're just saddling them with pages and pages of talking heads and narration boxes covering the art.
Word salad.
Yeah, and characters dressed in like regular clothing. And it's not what you want from Action Comics. Action Comics. Remember what you are.
So, same rating on everything.
Yeah, it's true. We are of a mind.
Mm-hmm.
Happens when you're raised together.
Sure. But the quality of the content in many ways speaks for itself.
Right. I mean, these can be looked at as like essential scores. Like these are true scores from accurate level of examination and thought process, not just our personal scores. We're carving the correct scores out of the marble.
Well, yeah.
It was always there. We're just good at finding it.
That is what I was saying, yes.
And with that, we're going to sign off for the week.
Yep.
Thanks for checking out the LAAGCast again. Drop us a line if you've got anything to say, as usual.
Yep. And we'll be recording another one in 2 days.
Yeah, so we'll see if we get it up 2 days later. We'll see.